What is the Rebbe's opinion about joining the IDF?
So first of all, this question has a lot of different aspects to it. Let's start with the very direct things that we have from the Rebbe. And that is number one, regarding a bacher who belongs in yeshiva, who's supposed to be in yeshiva. The Rebbe spoke about the fact, the Gemara tells us that if David HaMelech would not be sitting and learning Torah, Yoav, who was the general of the army of David HaMelech, wouldn't be able to fight wars. And if Yoav wasn't fighting the wars, then David HaMelech wouldn't be able to learn Torah. From which we understand a very important aspect, and that is that it's not that there's two things and there's someone who we're exempting because he's learning Torah. There's two aspects, and both of them are necessary together, and each one needs the other in order to be able to fulfill their mission. Those who their mission is to actually go out and fight the wars, if they don't have the people who are the yeshiva bachrim whose mission is to be learning Torah, if they're not learning Torah, they won't be able to be successful in the war. Not only that, they'll be obligated now to be learning the Torah, because you need the Torah in order to win. They won't be able to fight because they'll have to go back to the Beis Medrash to learn. And the same thing is vice versa. If you don't have the people out there fighting the war and protecting physically, then the ones who are learning Torah are not going to be able to learn Torah. On a practical sense, there's those, and how do we know it? By the fact of where is a person holding in life. If a person is a yeshiva bacher, his job and his place is in yeshiva. If he decides to go out and fight in the army, he's what we call an arik. He's a deserter. He's deserting not yeshiva. He's deserting his mission, which is his part of the protection of the Jewish people, which is learning Torah in yeshiva. And the same thing is vice versa. Just like when you have a person who's supposed to be in the army and he goes and leaves, or he leaves his position. He's supposed to be a pilot. He's supposed to be in the Air Force, and he decides he instead wants to be a foot soldier. He's not fulfilling his mission, even though he was an amazing foot soldier. But if his job that he was sent to was to be in the Air Force, then he's a deserter. And the Rebbe says it in a very powerful way. The Rebbe says it's true when you're sitting and learning. The person who went out to war, he's going to come back with medals. He's going to come back with signs of greatness. Everyone's going to cheer his bravery. And you're sitting here, nobody notices or recognizes. But nevertheless, you have to understand that your part of it is as important. And at the same time, you have to appreciate his part of it, because that's what's enabling you to be able to learn Torah. And that's the importance of a person knowing where my position and where my place in life at the moment is. God forbid to say that that my blood is redder than someone else's blood, and that someone else can go fight for me. But I have to do my part in the war and my part in the war efforts, and actually realizing that this is my part, and therefore take it very seriously, my sitting in yeshiva and learning. On the other hand, the Rebbe is very clear that when a person comes to a certain age, and specifically after he gets married, because that's another issue which there is often in the army, problems with tznius, etc. And therefore, when he's married and he's more settled, and he already learned in yeshiva, and he already did his term, so to speak, in learning in yeshiva, and now he's going out to the world, he definitely has to first spend his time serving the country, serving the Jewish people, and protecting the Jewish people in the right way by joining the army and fighting in the army, and of course remembering while he's there also that part of the fight is to do whatever he can to help his fellow soldiers in spreading and putting on tefillin with them, etc., etc.